Amanda is still considered to be the best Jigsaw apprentice. She was the one that John selected to carry out his life's work in the end.
Wrong! Mark Hoffman's clearly the better Jigsaw apprentice. Unlike Amanda, Hoffman actually allows Jigsaw's games to be played out the way they're supposed to go.
Really? The same Mark Hoffman who clearly murdered Seth Baxter in a rigged game from the start and did the same to Jigsaw's wife?
Jill Tuck put Hoffman in the exact same scenario that he was in when she tried to kill him with the reverse bear trap, and yet he still found a way out. Amanda never gave anyone a chance to escape her games. That makes her a true murderer.
Have you forgotten about the dozens of police officers that Hoffman clearly murdered to avoid capture? So who's the real murderer here?
So I bet a lot of you out there didn't know that there were big fans of not just Jigsaw, but his apprentices as well. I'm dead serious. There are people out there in this world that can relate and sympathize with both Amanda Young and Mark Hoffman. One theory that I have as to why is because people see a part of themselves in these two Jigsaw accomplices. There are people out there that can identify with Amanda's battles with drug addictions or self-harm, or even people who can identify with Mark Hoffman's lust for vengeance and brutality towards others that done them wrong. And there are people all over the world that are showing that. There are fans who dress as cosplays of Amanda in the reverse bear trap. There are fan art drawings of Mark Hoffman, and there are even forum pages and websites dedicated to them, and more specifically, John Kramer. Over the years, Jigsaw has become a cultural icon. On every Halloween, we see tons of people out there who wear his pig mask, paint their faces white with the red spiral cheeks, and even make audio recordings of their voices sounding like Billy the Puppet. So the main question you have to ask yourself is this: why does everyone admire this serial killer? Could it be that the people like his methods of torture? Do they just like the taste of the theatricality? Or is it something more sinister? Jigsaw was able to convince several people to do his biddings whether they intended to or not. But there were still a few of these individuals who went out of the way to complete Jigsaw's work to form their own personal rehabilitation. That and someone with terminal brain cancer had no way of doing all of these crimes and attacks all by themselves. They clearly had to have had help. So today, we're going to be looking at every known Jigsaw associate or accomplice that helped him in the Jigsaw murders. These are the accomplices of Jigsaw.
Now perhaps you will succeed where the others have failed. You think you will walk away untested. I promise that my work will continue. You think it's over just because I'm dead. It's not over. The games have just begun.
Obi Tate. Obi was a lost soul who purposely put an ad out in the newspaper asking for Jigsaw to test him. He was kidnapped by Jigsaw and placed in a game at Whitehurst Insane Asylum. After he is saved by Detective David Tapp, Obi continued to seek out Jigsaw once again. So this time, Jigsaw used Obi to help kidnap all the victims of the nerve gas house. He would later be placed in the game himself and would die in the furnace trap. Brett Martinez. Brett Martinez was a defense attorney who had clients such as Dr. Lawrence Gordon. His body was discovered at the Whitehurst Insane Asylum in the Jigsaw mask attired. When an autopsy was performed on his body, there were traces of poison that was found in his system that could have been cured by a simple antidote. So he was forced to do Jigsaw's bidding in order to survive the games at the asylum. Zepp Hindle. Zepp worked at the Metropolitan Hospital as an orderly. There, he would visit with John Kramer every day when John attended his chemotherapy treatments. The two formed a relationship, and it is believed that Zepp provided Jigsaw with the information that he needed on his victims who were residents at the Metropolitan Hospital. However, during the bathroom game, Jigsaw poisoned Zepp Hindle to kidnap Dr. Gordon's family in an attempt to serve his game. Zepp was tested with the opportunity to keep the Gordon family held hostage so that Dr. Gordon can complete his game in murdering Adam. If Dr. Gordon failed, then Zepp would have been forced to kill Allison and Diana Gordon in order to retrieve the antidote from John Kramer after the game was over. Zepp failed in killing Allison and Diana and lured Detective Tapp to Whitehurst Insane Asylum, where he shot and almost killed him. Zepp would return back to the bathroom to kill Dr. Gordon. However, he was attacked and killed by Adam Stanheit. Art Blank. Art was John's business partner with the Urban Renewal Group and his company, Gideon. After the death of John and Jill's son, Gideon, John gave up his company to Art Blank and gave up his shares to his wife, Jill. Art Blank was also a lawyer and represented over half of the known Jigsaw victims. In the weeks before Jigsaw's final game, Art was placed in the mausoleum trap with Trevor Rustin. After surviving the mausoleum trap, Art was given one more test. In order to escape the spine severer trap, which was attached to his body, Jigsaw forced him to help set up a game for SWAT Officer Rigg and help test Detective Mark Hoffman and Eric Matthews. When Rigg failed his test, Art was shot in the chest by Rigg, and after the death of Detective Eric Matthews, he was shot point blank range in the head by Officer Rigg. Jill Tuck. Jill met John at a charity event in the late 1990s, and they were married in May of 2000. With the help of John's company Gideon, Jill was able to set up the Homeward Bound Medical Clinic to help recovering addicts. However, Jill would lose her baby in that awful accident involving Cecil Adams and Amanda Young. More on Amanda in a bit. It was during that time that John grew distant from Jill and that they separated months later. John gave up all of his shares of his company to Art Blank and Jill. Art Blank took up John's offer, but Jill still managed to give John his cut of the profits back towards him, and the rest of the money would be given back towards Jill's medical clinic. Soon afterwards, John was diagnosed with terminal brain cancer, and then he tried to commit suicide via the car accident. She tried to contact John afterwards once Cecil's body was discovered by police, but claimed that John told her never to come back and see her again. After Jill tried to kill Mark Hoffman, Jill would later confess to the police that at the time she knew John Kramer killed Cecil, but she hid it from the police, including evidence that she was secretly supplying John with the drugs he uses on his victims, as well as tried to help John in his aid with his cancer treatments. She would eventually be murdered by Mark Hoffman in the reverse bear trap. When Jill died, her medical clinic was shut down a year later after the lawsuit by Simone Howard. Detective Mark Hoffman. Mark Hoffman served as the Metropolitan Police Force for 23 years. A few months after he was promoted to detective, his sister Angelina was brutally murdered by her then boyfriend, Seth Baxter. Seth was put on probation after his murder sentence was reduced to 5 years based on a technicality. Mark Hoffman decided to use the Jigsaw attacks to exact his revenge on Seth Baxter. Hoffman took the time to make a video copy from the Billy doll from the Masaku Aito and Ronnie Navarro game. He also managed to create a Jigsaw audio tape and create a trap based off the infamous Pit and the Pendulum stories. Except this time, Hoffman didn't give Seth a chance to survive, and he was cut in half by the pendulum blade. However, after this game, it is believed that John Kramer somehow recruited Mark Hoffman into his employment. Being a cop on the inside, Hoffman supplied people's police files and information on future Jigsaw victims, and even helped John Kramer kidnap these people when he was diagnosed with cancer. Mark Hoffman had connections with several murders, including the Gideon Warehouse games, the Fatal Five, Whitehurst Insane Asylum, and the Umbrella Health Company. However, after William Easton's game, Hoffman was outed by Jigsaw's wife Jill Tuck after she attempted to kill him with a reverse bear trap. Hoffman spent a couple months of hiding and planning, but he was able to exact his revenge on Jill Tuck and the Metropolitan Police Department. He was able to kill dozens of police officers and even murdered Jill Tuck in the reverse bear trap. But since then, Hoffman disappeared.
Mark Hoffman was grieving over the loss of his sister, and he took the dark path into revenge. But it was John Kramer who showed him a better way. By joining Jigsaw, Hoffman dedicated his life to helping Jigsaw test subjects who he believed needed to learn. Hoffman followed Jigsaw's work the way it was meant to be, and he gave people the chance to survive their test. While I agree that he was a little too brutal with his victims, he was still successful in carrying out Jigsaw's games the way they were supposed to be, unlike with what Amanda did. Had Jigsaw decided not to double-cross him, then Hoffman wouldn't have gone back to that dark path that John was trying to avoid in the first place. Bottom line, Jigsaw betraying Mark Hoffman caused him to go on his murderous rampage.
So where is Mark Hoffman? Well, this was the last photograph taken of him while he was still alive, and it looks that he's stuck in the same bathroom that Dr. Gordon and Adam Stanheidt were in. Some people believe that he's dead. Others believe that he's still alive and that he faked this photo in order to escape his death. And there are those that believe that the police caught him and that they're hiding him secretly and he is serving prison sentence. And there are those out there that believe that Mark Hoffman is the one responsible for these latest Jigsaw attacks. Only time will tell. Amanda Young. Amanda grew up in a rough childhood and was often abused by her father. This led her to a life as a drug addict and eventually to a life of self-harm. After the death of Cecil, Amanda would also be tested by Jigsaw in the reverse bear trap. But something happened. She survived. After escaping the trap, she was recruited by John Kramer to become his new apprentice. Amanda was responsible for several games, such as the Whitehurst Insane Asylum, the Chemical Plant, and being a part of the Nerve Gas House and the games at the Gideon Warehouse. However, the games that she created for her victims were deemed unwinnable and betrayed the rules. Victims such as Troy Baker and Detective Carey proved these facts. Because of this, John decided to give Amanda one last chance, so he put one final game in place, also at the Gideon Warehouse. John did leave something for Amanda at the Gideon Warehouse. This envelope right here, which contained the following: a personalized letter that John wrote to Amanda, these financial tax reports which helped ensure Amanda's financial security after John's death, and a key. For what? I still don't know. But that was not the only thing that was left in this envelope. Apparently, Mark Hoffman also wrote one letter to Amanda personally. It is theorized that Amanda and Hoffman didn't always get along, and that Hoffman wrote a letter to blackmail Amanda that would ensure her failure in Jigsaw's final game for her. In the letter, Hoffman writes to Amanda saying, "Amanda, you were with Cecil the night Jill lost Gideon. You killed their child. You know it, and I know it. So do exactly as I say. Kill Lynn Denlin, or I will tell John what you did." In my opinion, what a no-good bastard.
We know, based upon the letter that was released to the public by Pamela Jenkins, that Mark Hoffman blackmailed Amanda Young into killing Dr. Lynn Denlin. That in itself shows that Hoffman wanted Amanda out of the way because he knew that Jigsaw was testing Amanda to see if she could be trusted with his work. By forcing Amanda to kill Lynn, he guaranteed her failure and even her death at the hands of Jeff. Even though Amanda had her faults, she's arguably John's greatest success story. She was a drug addict before she was tested by John, and Amanda proved to him that she had what it takes to survive one of Jigsaw's deadly games. Amanda overcame her addiction and dedicated the rest of her life to John and his works and teachings. She was the first Jigsaw survivor, and had it not been for Hoffman, I believe she would have succeeded in carrying out the Jigsaw reign.
But going back to the envelope, John also wrote Amanda this letter right here, which says, "My dear Amanda, the enclosed is for you. To ease the ways in the sea you must navigate. Talk with Anthony McDonald at the branch. He will take care of all. Do not look back, only ahead. You have arrived at the door. Walk through it. Don't look back. You are strong and well. I know you think you have nothing to teach. We teach what we need to learn. That is enough. May I always breathe life into your soul, as you done to mine. With love and hope, I believe in you, John." In the end, Amanda did end up shooting Len Denlin, and she was also killed by her husband, Jeff. Jigsaw would also die at the hands of Jeff Denlin, knowing that Amanda failed him. Believe it or not, there's still one more known Jigsaw accomplice out there that we still don't know the identity of. If you look in this photo right here, we see two pig mask figures. One of them is John Kramer, and the other one assisted him in the Masaku Aito and Ryan Navarro game. And as noted, Mark Hoffman didn't even work for Jigsaw until after the Seth Baxter game. Not to mention, there's still one more pig mask that's unaccounted for that we see in the photos of the Michael Tapp game at the chemical factory. So who was it? Some of the police theorized that it was Dr. Gordon, but his alibis checked out. Others assumed that it was probably his wife, Jill, but I don't believe it to be her either. Plus, we can't forget who wrote this letter to Mark Hoffman that he kept in his desk saying, "I know who you are." So whoever this mysterious pig figure is, they are working for Jigsaw, and they still may be out there. But once again, only time will tell. So to answer the question, who's the best Jigsaw accomplice or apprentice, as Jigsaw Rules fans like to say, was best and truly effective for John Kramer's work? Hoffman or Amanda? To this day, I still get a kick out of people debating online watching it.
I still say you're wrong, Andrew.
You literally just proved my point for me on why Hoffman isn't the best apprentice.
If Amanda was the best apprentice, then why did John test her again in the end?
Same reason he tested Hoffman in the end, and look at what he did.
But if you want my opinion on who the best Jigsaw accomplice was, Hoffman, Amanda, or somebody else, the answer is simple. None of them were the best. And here's why. There could be no true accomplice to Jigsaw because there's only one Jigsaw. And that's John Kramer. And I believe Tim Blake said it best, where there could only be one John Kramer in this world, and nobody can be like him. I believe John wanted all of his followers, whether it be Hoffman, Amanda, or even people that he recruited on the side, to see the world the way that he did, which was, we all need to fight and do what it takes to survive because our lives should be one of the most important things to us, and that we should appreciate and value your life. And that is a key message that we've seen in all of Jigsaw's tests. People need to appreciate and value their lives and the lives of others. So when I go on the news and I see that, there's these Jigsaw-like killings coming up again that's been popping on and off for the last couple years, it makes me worried because Jigsaw went out of his way to recruit people such as Amanda Young and Mark Hoffman, people who had their vices, whether they were drug addicts, wanted revenge, or people that were out for their own selfish needs. Jigsaw went out of his way to recruit them, to help rehabilitate them, and to help them see the world the way that he did. And it frightens me to see that these Jigsaw attacks are happening again, because if these Jigsaw murders and tests happen and do not use the same methods of rehabilitation, then we truly have created a world full of new murderers and monsters out there that are using Jigsaw-like torture devices for their own selfish and personal need. And that to me is what I believe was John Kramer's greatest fear. That people will take his methods of rehabilitation and use it for their own selfish desires and not give people the chance to survive and live and give them that chance to rethink their lives. And the reason why I continue to do these blogs and praise the work for John Kramer is not through his torture devices and all the people that he had a hand in their deaths, was that he truly does have some good in his intentions. And while his methods are extreme and something that I personally don't condone, they are endearing. Like, there is a message there that we people in society need to follow. And it's a message that even I have been lacking lately. For those who don't know, I have been doing these blogs on and off again because, yeah, my sister's going to kill me for mentioning this on here, but our mom has been diagnosed with brain cancer. And at first, she was able to get it back in remission. It went away, but last month we find out that it has unfortunately come back. And while my mom is strong, and she's probably one of the toughest people that I know, it's hard for her, and for anybody for that matter, to go through this. Shoot, it kind of reminds me of what John Kramer was going through when he was diagnosed with brain cancer. But I have been putting aside my time and not focusing it where it should be, which is, my loved ones, the people who take care of me, such as my mother and my sister, who I've been neglecting. And I think it's time that maybe I should follow John Kramer's advice and not just value my life and to spread his message around, but try to do the same and lead by his example. And so this may conclude these blogs for the time being, but I'm going to do everything in my power to live my life the way that John Kramer would want people to live their lives. And so that's what I'm going to do. I hope with all these blogs and all these videos that I've created, recapping the history of John Kramer and everything that's gone around him, has helped inspired you all to live your lives and appreciate them and live your life to the fullest. I'll keep you all posted should anything else come up regarding John Kramer or anything else on that matter. Please continue to follow me on Twitter and Instagram for more updates. I'm Jacob Walton, and this has been the Jigsaw Blogs. Well, I'm glad you're feeling better, Mom. And thanks again for the address, okay? Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure it was. Hey, Mom, listen. Is Kayla still there? Good. Hey, can I talk to her for about a minute or two? Yeah. Alright, well, you get some rest now, okay? Alright. Hey, Mom. I love you. Hey, so, how's she doing today?
She's doing better today. Yesterday when she was on the phone with one of her old students, she got a little emotional, but the day got better after that.
Yeah, that's my fault. I still have a lot of unfinished business with these Jigsaw videos out there, and I was hoping to get an interview with her is all.
Are you kidding me? I thought you said you were done with all that stuff.
I know, it's just that there are so many things that belong to her that I collected over the last few years that I figured, now's a good time to give it back to her is all.
Please tell me you've at least taken down all those spare photos off your wall.
I'm getting there. It's just that there's so much information on those walls that are still useful. And besides, I haven't had a chance to take them all down because I've been so busy keeping track and keeping up with Mom lately.
Well, I'm glad you're back with us.
Yeah, I know. Okay, look. I know things were tough for you when Dad died. I just didn't want to go through that again with Mom, you know?
I know, but thank God we don't have to worry about that now. We got the good news that Mom's treatment's working again, and she can hopefully go back to subbing again.
Yeah. Then she could take it out on all those middle school kids.
I keep telling her the elementary students are easier to manage, and she's worked with them for over 25 years, so I'm not sure why she insists on working with older students.
Maybe I should start subbing for you instead.
Please, I'm not taking any more days off my class. Standardized testing is coming up, and I can't afford to lose any more time with them.
Well, don't worry. I'm sure Mom can give you a few pointers too.
Jacob? Jacob? Hello?
I'll call you back, Kayla, okay? Love you. Play me.
Hello, Jacob Walton. Apologies for the theatrics. I believe that I need to keep my anonymity. I just wanted to take this opportunity to thank you personally for keeping track of everything that I've sent you. I see that you have put it to good use with your videos. I've decided to move on from Jigsaw's work and attend to more personal matters that need to be taken care of. Therefore, I wish you and your family all the best. And if the police give you any more trouble, I will take care of them for you. Farewell, Jacob. And if you see your friend officer going, tell him I said, hello. Sincerely, the organ donor.